The crane chase in Terminator 3 features Arnold Schwarzenegger punching through a vehicle door with his bare hand. Schwarzenegger actually broke his hand on take 3, fracturing 2 metacarpals. These are 20 hidden details in Terminator 3 you completely missed. Number 1. Arnold Schwarzenegger's $29.25 million salary for Terminator 3 represented the largest single actor payday in Hollywood history at that point, shattering Tom Cruise's previous record. Paramount's insurance underwriters demanded he undergo a comprehensive physical examination before coverage would activate. He failed twice. The studio panicked, realizing their entire $187.3 million production depended on a 55-year-old action star who couldn't pass basic insurance requirements. They quietly hired body doubles for approximately 40% of his action sequences, a fact buried in production reports until years later. Watch the coffin scene closely. Those aren't Arnold's hands in the close-ups pulling the casket from the mausoleum wall. Stunt coordinator Joel Kramer used performer Billy Lucas's hands instead, with makeup artist Jeff Dawn matching skin tones precisely. Number 2. Claire Danes sustained a genuine concussion during the bathroom fight sequence when a stunt went catastrophically wrong. Kristanna Loken, performing her own stunts against safety coordinator recommendations, accidentally drove Danes' head into the bathroom sink with excessive force. Production shut down for 4 days while Danes recovered and lawyers battled over liability. The bathroom sink Loken shattered wasn't a breakaway prop, she broke real porcelain, cutting her own hand in the process. Watch the mirror during that sequence. There's a crack running diagonally that wasn't in the scripted choreography. That damage stayed in the final cut because reshooting would have required rebuilding the entire set at Santa Clarita Studios. Paramount executives seriously considered recasting Danes entirely, screen testing actress Jessica Biel as a potential replacement. Number 3. Edward Furlong's name appears nowhere in Terminator 3, though the original script by John Brancato and Michael Ferris featured Jon Connor in nearly every scene. Furlong's well-documented substance abuse issues caused a complete character rewrite 3 weeks before principal photography began. The studio terminated his contract after he failed to show for a mandatory pre-production meeting in February 2002. Nick Stahl received the career-making call, casting him as adult Jon Connor with almost no preparation time. Screenwriters had to justify the dramatic age difference, completely rewriting the entire opening act. Notice something odd throughout the film. Jon Connor has absolutely no childhood photographs anywhere. That's because they'd already designed and shot those scenes with Furlong before his removal. Casting director Joyce Robinson Henry literally erased his visual existence. Number 4. The original finale for Terminator 3 featured an actual nuclear explosion and an extended post-apocalyptic epilogue showing the immediate aftermath. Test audiences at the Warner Brothers lot screening in March 2003 absolutely hated it, with comment cards describing it as too depressing. The screening scored a disastrous 47% positive response. Jonathan Mostow had 6 days to reshoot an entirely different ending before the locked picture deadline. Those reshoots cost $8 million, nearly bankrupting the production's contingency budget. Notice how abruptly the tone shifts from action spectacle to somber bunker scenes. That jarring transition exists because they're stitching together footage shot months apart. Editor Neil Travis called it surgical storytelling. The nuclear footage reportedly still exists in Warner Brothers archives. Number 5. James Cameron declined to direct Terminator 3 multiple times between 1999 and 2001, instead recommending Jonathan Mostow based on his work on U-571. Studio executives at C2 Pictures and Intermedia Films wanted either Michael Bay or John McTiernan, directors with proven action franchises. They settled on Mostow primarily because he'd accept half the directorial fee their preferred choices demanded. Cameron visited the set exactly once during production in June 2002 at the Veterans Affairs parking structure in Los Angeles. He walked out after 20 minutes, reportedly telling producer Mario Kassar the production felt wrong. Crew members leaked the story to Entertainment Weekly's Jeff Jensen within days. The article described Cameron as visibly uncomfortable watching his franchise continuation. Production designer Jeff Mann later admitted the visit created lasting tension on set. Number 6. The TX's original character design featured significantly more revealing costume elements that Intermedia Films rejected as too overtly sexual during pre-production approval meetings. Studio executives demanded costume changes while filming was already underway, forcing costume designer April Ferry to redesign Kristanna Loken's outfit mid-production. Loken wore a completely different leather jacket in approximately 60% of pickup shots filmed during post-production reshoots. Watch watch for continuity errors throughout the film. Her jacket changes collar style, zipper placement, and even color shade between scenes. The MPAA's ratings board threatened an R rating over the original costume during early footage review. Ferry had to submit 3 revised designs before receiving approval. Loken later told Sci-Fi Wire that she felt more covered up than the T-800, joking with interviewer Patrick Lee about the irony. Number 7. The massive crane crash through downtown Los Angeles wasn't entirely planned. Stunt driver Robert Nagel actually lost control during the sequence. The crane's hydraulic steering failed mid-chase, causing genuine panic as Nagel struggled to avoid civilian vehicles on Colorado Boulevard. Production immediately claimed the accident was planned. Choreography to avoid insurance investigation and potential criminal negligence charges. The unexpected damage totaled approximately $3 million to Los Angeles streets and municipal property. Watch the crane's movement during that sequence. Its erratic swerving isn't acting, it's genuine loss of control. The city of Los Angeles banned intermedia films from filming on city streets for 2 years. Location manager Ilt Jones negotiated the settlement quietly. Nagel received a $50,000 bonus for maintaining professional composure during equipment failure. Number 8. Approximately 30% of Arnold Schwarzenegger's dialogue in Terminator 3 is ADR, automated dialogue replacement, recorded during post-production, not on set. Studio executives deemed his Austrian accent too thick for modern audiences during early rough-cut screenings. They hired dialect coach Robert Easton to work with Schwarzenegger on re-recording lines with clearer pronunciation. Watch the lip sync carefully in indoor dialogue scenes, particularly the veterinary clinic sequence. Arnold's mouth movements are slightly off from the audio track. Schwarzenegger fought the studio decision, arguing his accent was intrinsic to the character's appeal. He lost. Sound supervisor John Wrights later admitted in Sound and Vision magazine that matching the ADR to Schwarzenegger's on-set performance proved nearly impossible because his natural speaking rhythm conflicted with the coached versions. Number 9. Their original screenplay contained a 12-minute exposition scene explaining precisely why Skynet sent the TX to July 24th, 2004, rather than any other date in the timeline. Test audiences found it boring. Neil Travis cut the entire sequence for pacing, inadvertently creating a massive plot hole fans still debate. The scene featured Jon Connor and Kate Brewster discovering Skynet's temporal targeting algorithm, which would have answered fundamental questions about the franchise's time travel logic. Editor Paul Rubel admitted during a 2004 American Cinema Editors panel that cutting the scene broke the internal logic but improved the film's momentum. The deleted scene exists in the work print version but has never been released. Writers John Brancato and Michael Ferris reportedly protested the cut to producer Moritz Bormann. Number 10. Industrial Light and Magic initially demanded $45 million for Terminator 3's visual effects work, submitting a detailed budget breakdown in late 2001. Intermedia Films allocated only $28 million, creating an immediate crisis. ILM visual effects supervisor Pablo Hellman later told Cinefex magazine that artists worked extensive unpaid overtime to meet delivery deadlines within the reduced budget. Watch the TX's endoskeleton quality carefully. Notice how the chrome reflectivity and surface detail deteriorate significantly in the final act. That degradation resulted directly from rendering shortcuts necessitated by budget constraints. ILM threatened to remove their company credit from the film entirely if additional resources weren't allocated. The studio compromised by allowing ILM to reduce shot complexity. Visual effects producer Gretchen Libby managed the tense negotiations throughout post-production. Number 11. The veterinary clinic scene used real animals despite CGI alternatives being readily available and actually cheaper. Jeff Mann insisted on practical animals for authenticity, overruling visual effects recommendations. PETA filed a formal complaint during production after receiving tips from crew members about animal treatment. The cat handling scene required 14 takes because the animal displayed visible stress responses. Watch that cat's eyes during the sequence. Those aren't acting choices, that's genuine fear response to repeated handling and bright set lighting. California's Film and Television Animal Safety Division investigated, ultimately fining the production $50,000 for protocol violations. The production company kept the fine quiet until 2005 when documents surfaced. Animal handler Jules Sylvester defended the shoot to Variety, though veterinarian reports contradicted his assessment. Number 12. Schwarzenegger's gubernatorial campaign planning directly overlapped with Terminator 3's production schedule during spring and summer 2002. Studio executives at Intermedia Films inserted pro-military messaging into the screenplay at Arnold's explicit request, positioning the film as a campaign asset. Script supervisor Ana Maria Quintana documented multiple script changes designed to appeal to conservative California voters, including enhanced military heroism and reduced moral ambiguity. Jonathan Mostow objected to the changes during production meetings, arguing they compromised the story's complexity. Producers overruled him. The line line,
"She'll be back,"
wasn't just a franchise callback, it was a campaign slogan test, measuring audience response to Schwarzenegger's political messaging. Political consultant Don Sippel later confirmed to the Los Angeles Times that the production served as soft launch messaging for Arnold's political ambitions. Number 13. The prop department acquired an actual cemetery casket for the mausoleum scene from a Los Angeles mortuary supply company, purchasing it as a budget-saving measure. During setup at the filming location in Glendale, crew members discovered real human remains still inside the casket. Bone fragments and deteriorated fabric the supply company had failed to remove. Production shut down immediately while the Los Angeles Police Department investigated potential grave robbery and improper handling of human remains. Watch Arnold Schwarzenegger's reaction when he first pulls the casket. That visible shock isn't performance. It's genuine surprise at the casket's unexpected weight and resistance. The studio paid an undisclosed settlement to the deceased person's family and sealed all records. Prop master Michael Lynch was quietly replaced mid-production by assistant Richard Scheck-Snyder. Number 14. Production hired dialect coach Francie Brown specifically to help Claire Danes match Linda Hamilton's vocal patterns and speech rhythms from Terminator 2. The studio fired Brown after only 2 weeks, deeming the $8,500 weekly coaching fee excessive relative to its impact. Danes sounds absolutely nothing like Sarah Connor throughout the film. Different pitch, different cadence, different regional accent markers. Ana Maria Quintana noted the vocal mismatch problem in daily reports, recommending either rehiring the coach or addressing the discontinuity through ADR. Quintana's recommendations were ignored. The result creates a jarring disconnect for franchise fans expecting vocal consistency. Danes later told Entertainment Weekly's Gregory Kirschling she'd prepared by watching Hamilton's performance repeatedly, but without professional coaching, she couldn't replicate the specific vocal choices Hamilton had developed. Number 15. John Brancato. And Michael Ferris's original screenplay draft featured Sarah Connor alive and hiding from Skynet's detection, preparing John for his destiny in secret. Studio executives demanded her death to eliminate Linda Hamilton's salary requirement from the budget. Hamilton was offered $5 million to return for a 3-week shoot playing the hidden Sarah Connor. She declined, later telling The Guardian she felt the story was complete after Terminator 2. Writers completely rewrote Jon Connor's entire character arc around Sarah's absence, transforming him from a prepared leader into an aimless drifter. The graveyard scene where Kate and John visit Sarah's grave was a late addition during reshoots. Watch that scene's cinematography. It uses completely different lighting and film stock than surrounding sequences, shot by cinematographer Don Burgess months later. Number 16. Terminator 3 deliberately contradicts Terminator 2's established timeline, and Jonathan Mostow admits he broke canon intentionally. In multiple DVD commentary statements, studio executives at Intermedia Films explicitly wanted franchise reboot potential, requiring timeline flexibility for future sequels without Cameron's creative restrictions. The Skynet activation date shown on screen, July 25th, 2004, directly contradicts August 29th, 1997 from Terminator 2, creating impossible continuity. Watch those computer screens during the Crystal Peak sequence. The dates don't align with established franchise history. James Cameron called the retcon timeline vandalism during a 2003 interview with Total Film magazine, stating he wouldn't have approved the changes. Mostow defended the decision to producer Hal Lieberman, arguing that Terminator 2's Prevention of Judgment Day necessitated a new timeline where Skynet's creation was delayed. Number 17. The first test screening at the Warner Brothers lot in March 2003 scored a catastrophic 34% audience approval rating, the lowest test score for any Terminator franchise film ever recorded. Studio executives at Warner Brothers and Intermedia Films held emergency meetings, seriously considering shelving the theatrical release entirely. The screening's comment cards described the film as confusing, too dark, and missing the franchise magic. Warner Brothers allocated an additional $15 million for extensive reshoots across 8 weeks, from April through May 2003. Those reshoots changed approximately 40% of the third act, including the ending's emotional tone. The theatrical version tests at 67% approval, acceptable but not exceptional. Marketing executive Don Taubin managed the damage control campaign. Box office performance ultimately justified the reshoot investment, though critic Roger Ebert remained unimpressed. Number 18. Stunt performer Billy D. Lucas suffered severe spinal compression during the vehicle flip sequence while doubling for Schwarzenegger. Production continued filming while Lucas was transported to Cedars-Sinai Medical Center, delaying only 3 hours before resuming with a replacement performer. Lucas received a $2.3 million settlement and signed a comprehensive non-disclosure agreement preventing him from discussing the injury publicly. Watch the stunt quality carefully and notice how it drops noticeably mid-production. That's the direct result of Lucas's injury forcing quick replacement with less experienced performers. Lucas never worked in Hollywood stunts again, retiring from the industry entirely in 2004. Joel Kramer defended the production's safety record to Variety, though internal insurance documents obtained through litigation revealed multiple violations. Attorney Gloria Allred represented Lucas in settlement negotiations number 19. John Brancato and Michael Ferris's early screenplay draft killed Jon Connor in Act 2, with Kate Brewster assuming leadership of the human resistance. Studio executives panicked about killing the franchise's established protagonist, fearing it would alienate core fans. Next, Stahl actually filmed John's death scene, a brutal execution by the TX that was supposed to catalyze Kate's transformation. The footage exists in Warner Brothers' vault, but has never been screened publicly. Writers rewrote the ending to feature ambiguous survival, with John and Kate entering Crystal Peak together instead. Watch John's character arc carefully. Notice how he lacks heroic moments throughout the film. That's because his journey was originally designed to end in sacrificial death. Producer Moritz Bormann called the rewrite commercially necessary during test screening evaluations. Number 20. Terminator 3 ends with an obvious sequel setup. John and Kate in the military bunker, ready to lead the resistance. Yet the franchise rights battle between Mario Kassar, Andrew Vina, and various studios prevented any sequel development for 6 years. Jonathan Mostow refused to return when Terminator Salvation entered development in 2007, calling his Terminator 3 experience a creative nightmare in an interview with Empire Magazine. The production company sold all franchise rights to Halcyon Company in 2007 for $29.5 million, effectively erasing T3's narrative trajectory. Terminator Salvation, released in 2009 under director Mixie G, completely ignored Terminator 3's ending and setup. The Crystal Peak bunker setup, the Kate Brewster leadership arc, the resistance organization structure built by Jeff Mann, all abandoned completely. Here's the ultimate revelation. Jonathan Mostow never watched the finished theatrical version of Terminator 3. He told Ain't It Cool News he disowned the final cut after Warner Brothers edited without his approval. Which hidden detail surprised you most? And what film should we open next?